Hello, viewers. You may remember from previous episodes that the strike-through line of Shakespeare's and the strike-through line of Noy before imprinted is exactly half the width of the lower rule. These two rules are slightly different sizes, actually. Well, we've got a quadrant. We've got two quadrants of this larger square, which drop down to form this pattern here. Now, we're very interested in this subject in the triple tau, the symbol of Royal Arch Freemasonry, and we ought to have been looking for this in here, or I might ought to have been, but J. Hall Carpenter was, and he noted that there's a tiny little point there which I'll show you in detail. But he noticed that we can have a T here and a T here and a T here. It all kind of fits, doesn't it? So yeah, there it is. That's our triple tau. The only issue is we need to decide geometrically how long these bars are. We need some kind of rationale. I'd noticed actually, the way I've defined it is precisely 15 degrees from that vertex there. We'll cut that off, and that works. But I hadn't done something pretty, so here's something pretty. It's a threepenny bit, and if you extend the lines of the threepenny bit there, then that is what will define these. I've just got this church from Wikipedia. I don't know if the Order of the Holy Sepulchre or anything to do with this, but they got lots of threes and stuff that look nice, don't they? But let's just focus on this. We're 2 pixels over on the H, and in terms of the X position on the on this R dot here, I think we're essentially precisely where we should be. This line is, this line here is more than half a millimeter higher than it should be, which is an anomaly. I haven't quite got to why. This dot, I guess, is part of the R. I've got an oblong around the R. So when I'm making my funny R, and this is a very funny R, then that will be part of that. That letter. So isn't that nice? And indeed, this object has got more properties than soft make. I don't want to frighten you about that. The whole point is that everything is part of the same geometry. There's a geometry that begins with the G-spot, as I like to call it, and the imprinted dot, and everything else is generated from there. So I wanted to look at the rabbits and where the rabbits were looking, and it turns out that this rabbit does appear to be looking straight down the back of the A. That's an extended line of the this line here, which is part of the bounding pentagon of the Great Pentagram, and that's where it intersects the upper equilateral triangle. Same on this side. So this one is looking at the A. This one is not looking at the A. We've got 2 A's, which is good, and we're looking at one of them, but this one is looking at the R. It's looking at this point on the R. And so, yeah, let's discuss that. And let's discuss this line underneath, right? Line 23. It was noted that this is 23 degrees exactly from the center of that spot to this dot here. So I've defined a horizontal line here so that I can truncate this, and it's the reflection of the foot of the minor pentagram across the horizontal bar of the medium pentagram. So from there to there, on a horizontal line there, which is going to end up there, and it's a little bit too high. And similarly on this side, I'm going to reflect that point about the green line, and I'm going to end up a little bit too high for this, but they're both high by the same amount. As I say, if you go from the very centre of that to the very centre of the end bauble, you will get 23 degrees. This is the red line I've got on there is 23 degrees. It's been generated. So that's good. We've got a 23 degree line, and this point here, which is right there, is now looking quite hot. It's high, it's just, halfway along the stem, bisected by this thing, which has immense geometric value. The strike through of Shakespeare's has got loads of different things happening on it. So we've got our 23 degree line exactly, and we've got this thing here. Well, what does that remind you of? It reminds me of that, which is a bit cruel. So why don't we have the fastest animal on the planet, the peregrine falcon? Now, this 23 exactly. We've had one astronomical observation, or legend one, which is Kepler's supernova that kicked off in 1604, and we've also got this 23 degrees, and the brightest object in the sky in the evening is Venus, the evening star, and it has a declination of between 23.3 and 23.7 degrees, or did in 1600, and it's not that much different now. And of course, the god that the Egyptians considered this object to represent is Horus, and of course Horus is this guy, the falcon-headed god of kingship and the sky, I understand from my very brief Wikipedia-based research on Horus. So isn't that fab? So falconry, incidentally, extremely posh. Not allowed to do falconry unless you are an aristocrat. Just so you know. So this dot here, halfway between here and here, is on this line, is potentially sacred, potentially being a specific point. Now, just to the right, there's this dot here that's got a pointy thing out of it. So I'm going to be artistic and just stick a line on there because I want to do that. I consider that R to be very potentially the eye of Horus. So there. So isn't that fab? We've got a threepenny bit that validates our triple tau, and we've got the falcon god. Isn't that lovely? And here he is with his eye, allegedly, on that R. And the R does point at 45 degrees to the roundels of the monsters, but that's all I've got. Those roundels, if you've been within yourself trying to work this out, I promise you, it's like he's put those on. It's like, this is going to be hard, but yeah, don't give up. These are definitely. He's put a dot within a dirty great big circle. No attempt to make it look like an eye. It really looks different from the rest of the engraving, and I can't for the life of me work out what that is. So if you've got any ideas on what the roundels on the monsters mean, answers on a postcard. But other than that, isn't that fab? More news as we get it.